Interesting story about Sandy, and I know that you will confirm it at least somewhat. People don't believe this when I tell them, but when he was around 48, 49, like this is 4 or 5 years ago in Vero Beach, Sandy was clocked on the jugs gun at about 90 miles an hour, and he seriously contemplated coming back at age 48. Now, I don't know if you know that part of it, but I know that you saw him throwing one day and he could really throw.
I was talking to him a few days after that. I'd read that in the paper, and I'd gone over to Vero Beach for something, and exhibition game or something, and I said, "What in the world are you doing?" And he said, I just happened to be throwing." I said, "Criminy," I said, throwing like that, I said, "you can make a comeback." He said, "No," I said, "I got one problem." And I said, "What's that?" He says, "Once I stop, I can't start again." I said, "That's it, forget it."
But you think, if he goes, he's in great shape.
Yeah.
He's lean, maybe too lean. You think for a few batters, maybe an inning, he could still do it, don't you?
Oh, I know he could. If
Wow.
he started and got going, of course he could.
Mm. When you look back at Sandy, in terms of how he threw, do you feel that maybe he might have jeopardized the later years of his career because he threw too hard and couldn't pace himself? He didn't know how to quit.
Well, I think basically he got that arthritic elbow, and there was only one way for Sandy to pitch, and that was to throw hard. He fooled around with a forkball at the end of his career, and that was about the only off-speed pitch that he worked at. But he had one style of pitching, and that was it. It was power.
This has been 3 years now for you, the marriage and the new baby. The little heater, right, Annie?
He's going on too, yes.
Yeah, we had a shot of the little heater right there. Isn't that something? That's terrific. I want to ask you about the marriages of two great players. Of course, you were four-time All-America at UCLA, and clearly a national champion, Olympian. Do you feel in any way, at any point, there's a sublimation of the ego being married to another legend in another sport?
Well, for myself, it hasn't, because I know what I accomplished at a particular time, obviously, when I didn't even know Don, and didn't even know who he was, as a matter of fact, because I didn't follow baseball that much. But my sport was basketball, and what I had accomplished at that particular time, I feel very good about. And not only the Olympics and winning the national championship at UCLA, but the Pacer thing, tryout with the Indiana Pacers. And so I feel very good about those accomplishments, and I know that I did them in my own interest. And now being married to Don, I still have my own identity. I mean, obviously we're in the same business too, and I go by Ann Myers.
What do you think you admired most about her? I mean, I obviously admire a lot as a person, tremendous amount as a person, Don, but obviously there's an age difference, there's a generational difference. What do you admire most about her as an athlete and as a person?
Well, I think the thing that impressed me once, a gentleman told me in New York at a Hall of Fame banquet, and of course I never realized till I saw a portfolio on Annie that at one time she was the only four-time All-American in a collegiate sport, male or female, in history. And he told me, he said, "Isn't that Ann Myers over there, a very distinguished white-haired gentleman?" And she was talking with John Havlicek and some other basketball people. I said, "Yes, it is." He said, he said, "I followed her for years and years." Now, I don't know who this man is at all. And he says, "The greatest all-around athlete," he said, "since the Babe." I said, "Gee, that's pretty nice."
And it could have been either Babe Ruth or Babe Dietrichson.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Babe. Yeah, but Babe only one way. But
right.
Babe Dietrichson Zaharias was quite an all-around athlete.
Sure.
And Annie is an all-around athlete. She played 7 different sports. But the thing that I like about her is the competitive edge, and she's fought an uphill battle in the broadcasting profession. She's been a first in a lot of things, but as Billie Jean King was in the tennis and moving things up through there. But she keeps going, and you got to keep going in life.
Yeah.
Hello everyone, I spend a lot of time trying to get you guys nice videos, so please subscribe to this page. Thank you.